You already know about XJ Talk on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. But did you know we're on YouTube as well? We have off and on-road adventures, how-tos for fixing or augmenting your Jeep. Besides, man cannot live by sound alone, right? Come see what we got at youtube.com/user/XJTalk. Don't forget to subscribe and make comments on our videos.
Hey, this is Tim from Jeep Tubes, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
Hey, welcome to episode 134. This is the XG Talk Show pre-show. We get going here a few minutes before we start the recording. Josh is calling in right now. So we'll get him on the line. We're going to be doing live calls tonight. And, if anybody cares to call in, we'll put that number up here shortly if you'd like to call in for the pre-show. And, Josh, you're live on the mic.
Howdy, y'all. I've got one more story to add to This Week in Jeep.
Well, go right ahead. I'm going to be getting the call-in line up. So I'll just tell you real quick, we have, for Jeep tips, we have switches, 4.3 LXJ Steve. It's about 9 minutes, and for voicemails we have one Nikki G, and I'm going to throw in Stephanie's call so we can talk about that, the call that you made back to her to get her Jeep up and running, your assist.
Oh, okay.
So we'll play that one last. Nikki G's will be first. All right, so live call-in is up. We'll have that up until we start the show. Then we'll mute everybody. And if you wish to be on the show, you can stay connected, and we will go to you later during the broadcast. So that number is 267-507-0240. 267-507-0240. And then your magic number, the 6-digit code you'll need to complete that call, is 219-835. 219-835.
4x4 podcast, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
You know, there's an interesting story about Dan at the 4x4 podcast. I was chatting with him on Facebook yesterday, and we were talking about a new off-road podcast. At least it was a pilot. Don't know if it's actually gonna be produced or not, but he told me about the pilot and the name of it. Thought it was strange that it was I believe I told you, Josh, I think it was the Off-Road Podcast Show is what they were thinking about calling it. And anyway, we were talking about domain names, and so I'm sitting there chatting, and one of my favorite domain name sites, typing in various things. I told Dan, I said, wow, Rabid Chipmunk isn't available. He goes, why Rabid Chipmunk? And I said, I don't know, I just like the way it sounds. I think it'd be funny to have that one. I mean, what's more ferocious than a rabid chipmunk? Anyway, so I was digging around, and I thought, I think one of the reasons why we are not more popular than what we already are, I know I'm greedy, is the name. Not everybody knows that XJ is a two-letter designator for the Jeep Cherokee, and especially people that are new to the whole Cherokee thing. And I thought, well, if we had another domain name that we could use to help direct people to the show and also to the xjtalk.com, the forum, that might be a good thing. And in fact, Dan does that with his podcast. So I started digging around, and I really didn't make the connection until after I typed it in, but I typed in 4x4 podcast. Now remember, Dan's is the 4x4podcast.com.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I typed in 4x4. I was just thinking, what combinations of things would go well with XJ Talk, and I thought 4x4 podcast, and I checked it, and it was there, and I went, oh, well, I'm going to get that. And I went, oh, wait a minute, that's like Dan's, except he has the in front of it. And I said, well, I guess that's what he wanted to call it, and he didn't want 4x4podcast.com. So I checked, right. And I checked, and I found another one. 4x4radio.com, which I thought was, no offense to Dan, but I thought the 4x4 radio was pretty cool because everybody knows what radio is. Not everybody knows what a podcast is yet. Though they will in the future, but not necessarily right now. So anyway, I put that one in the basket, and I went for broke, and I thought, hey, I wonder if 4x4 off-road is available. Buzz, no, pretty much any form, net, org, anything that you could think of that was taken. Surprisingly, off-road 4x4 was available.
Hey.
.com. So I stuck that one in my inbox, so to speak, and went over there to check out, and my total was $24,069. I went, what the hell? And you guessed it, offroad4x4.com was $24,000. So I very carefully and accurately clicked the remove button.
Yes.
For that $24,000 domain name. But I did get the 4x4, I'm sorry, not the, I did get 4x4podcast.com and 4x4radio.com. And after that, I went back on chat, and I said, hey, Dan, just to let you know, when we do the redirect from 4x4podcast.com to XJ Talk, I'll put a little thing in there saying, hey, if you were looking for the 4x4podcast.com, here's the link. And he's like, what? What?
Stunned.
4x4podcast.com was available? He says, when I was trying to register that domain, it was taken. I said, oh, I didn't know. I just thought you didn't want that one and you wanted the in front of it. I personally, like, I'm shorter, and you can stick anything you want to around it, but get it short for the folks so they don't have to type much in. And he's like, yeah, duh. So I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. So anyway, we'll be doing a little redirect for the 4x4, 4x4podcast.com, redirect that over to Dan's the 4x4podcast.com, and help a fellow podcaster out a bit. And I think he's going to look into seeing if we can do a transfer before then, and then he can get his long wanted domain name that I scooped right out from in front of him. And it was funny because he started chatting with me about these domain names, not that one, but about domain names, which was got me to looking, which got me to finding and purchasing those too. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, I hope he's not bitter about the whole thing, but I think it's awfully nice to do that redirect and get any people who might be typing that in or come across that domain name to get themselves redirected over to his show.
Well, like I said, as soon as I found out that that's something that he wanted, more than happy to do it. I mean, Dan's a great friend of mine and the show, and don't want to do anything that would leave him out. I mean, he's built his audience using that, and I just saw an opportunity for us to build our audience with some, not necessarily his audience, but 4x4 stuff and podcast stuff. So definitely not trying to steal anything. I think that what Dan does and what we do is significantly different in the same area, of course, but we focus on Cherokees and Wranglers, and he focuses on a much wider range of things. So okie dokie, let's see. I was pulling up the show notes a while ago. Oh, and Josh, let's go ahead and mention the that pilot show. I need to go look it up. I think it was guysandguns.com that or the Guys and Guns podcast that's a potential part of.
Yeah, I got the link in my phone here still from you.
I'll look at it here in a second. I just thought I'd mention it before I forgot about it.
Gunguyradio.com.
Yeah. Wow, it has really been a busy week. I didn't even have the live event show up on YouTube, the placeholder for it, until about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, jeez. This over here.
I think your camera probably moved a little bit. Your chin's in the title bar. There you go.
Better?
Got your whole melon in there now.
You got the intro for today's show, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
So Steve's switches segment is, can't read it. Scooch it over. Look for the right one. It is 10 minutes and 37 seconds.
Okay. And nothing from Rob this week?
I didn't see anything. Let me look. We're not going to play it, but let me look real quick. Don't have time to get it ready now. Yeah, I was just getting ready to mention if you heard anything from Rob on getting together on a conference call, and I guess not. I didn't see anything.
No, did you ever get that email I tried sending you from my work address?
No, I did not see anything.
I got a delay notification.
I'm sorry?
I got a delay notification the same day. It was like 2 or 3 hours later. It said, this email has been delayed. Don't do anything, we're retrying or something like that. Some server error or something like that. And I didn't get any other notification. So I just assumed it went through. But it had me worried that it may not go through because I got the one notification.
That's probably a standard thing that you would get from my server as an anti-spam thing. It randomly tells emailers that haven't emailed to me before or emailed to the domain before that, hey, your email's being delayed. Because, spammers, they got people to spam. They don't have time to goof around. they're gonna send it and move on to the next person. It's the whole idea behind that delay of game type stuff without the penalty. Okay, so get back to the notes here. 500. What is the total? $539. I sure would like to see 1,000 on that. A nice round 1,000. Then I'll want 10,000, but there we go. So Nikki G is only 27 seconds. Probably should have taken Stephanie's number out of that voicemail, huh?
Oh, can you beep it?
I'm just kidding.
So yeah, we probably don't want to broadcast that.
Don't be so gullible, McFly. Yep. Okay, so got that in there. I think we got it. And we have got to get some more people calling in. Oh, it's only 4 minutes after the hour, so let me see what we've got here on iTunes. Don't want to miss out on somebody that may have taken the time to leave us a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 review. So I didn't look at the notes since I'm looking at this. Are we doing the delay on the Audible reading like we did last time?
Yeah. If you, I kept it as later in the show.
Good. Oh, and don't forget xjtalkshow.com for the email.
Instead of news tips, or we want to keep that one?
News tips, but use xjtalkshow.com. I think what we've been doing in the past is this xjtalk.com.
Yeah, I've got that in the notes.
Okay, good. Ooh, June 2nd. I don't think we have this. Yeah, no, this is a new one from Chris Reck. I'm just going to type that one in real quick. It's nice and short. Oh yeah, that great little post on xjtalk.com. I don't know if we want to do the whole thing or not. I'm going to let you read that one.
Yeah, it'd be a short read. It'll only take maybe a minute or so. Maybe 2 minutes tops to go through that. Let's see.
So as I said at the top of the show, this is the pre-show, and we quite often don't get started right at 10 p.m., but don't fear, because we will get started.
There's what I'm looking for. I don't know how I didn't end up getting that in the show notes from last week.
Sounds like you're crunching cans over there.
Hmm?
Sounded like you were crunching cans over there.
Is it still?
No? I wonder if that was some of that funny YouTube, Skype echo we get from time to time. Hell, it might have been some of the funny sounds in the music.
I've noticed since I put this mixer in that I do have a much more pronounced processor noise.
I'm not noticing it, but I'll take your word for it. Oh, somebody says technical difficulties. I wonder if we're not going out.
That reminds me, I should get the YouTube stream up real quick. All right, Tony, I'm basically ready. Show notes are updated. I'm good to go.
Just trying to see. Hidden Wounds XJ says technical difficulties. Question mark. I'm streaming. I got audio. Let's see.
I see the placeholder up on YouTube.
Yeah. I see audio going out. I don't know. Hopefully everything's working. I'm reading the chat now. If you guys are seeing the show and hearing the audio okay, let us know. I'll throw the link up here on Facebook real quick. No shouts, and there we go. Okay, I think I am ready.
As am I.
Won't make any promises.
Nor shall I.
Copycat. Yeah, it looked like we were a little hot into the thing here. Hello, test. Give me a little audio, Josh.
Yeah, a little audio.
There
a little
we go.
audio.
There we go.
A little more audio. I tend to get excited sometimes.
Okie dokie. So that'll go up there. And so let's see. I will do the disclaimer, and when we start playing the music, probably towards the end of the disclaimer, I'll bring the cameras up so you won't be waving just to yourself or just to me like last time.
At the end or around the end?
Around the end. I can do probably at the end. I need to pay attention to exactly what time, because I'm not sure with all the things I'm going between all the different screens. Sometimes I don't get it all pressed and done. So I'm going to start recording the audio now, just in case. Watch the little light, make sure it's not still blinking. It's going! Technology. Who would have thunk it? Alrighty. So, blue screen is trying to work on your overhead shot.
What's it doing with that?
Well, you can switch to it during the show and you can see.
Okay.
It's trying to put that background as what's on your floor.
So it just gets really pixelated and stuff?
Well, around you and on your computer screen. All right. So let's see. That one's queued up. I must have used this one last time, so we'll use this one. Yeah, there's some transient audio in the background. Let me see if it goes away when I mute your mic. Yeah, it's on your side.
Now we can try a different connection.
Do you have a limiter? I can't remember if you have a limiter.
Yeah, compressor limiter gate.
Is it limiting?
Yes. Gate is closed as soon as I stop talking.
All right, well, let's try calling. Go ahead and call me back, and let's see what happens. We're almost there, guys. We're getting ready to start. Just hang in there with us. Josh is calling back. We were getting a bit of noise there from Skype, I believe. My hopes are, anyway. Here we go.
How now, brown cow?
I'm going to let the audio drop here a second so I can see if there's any background noise.
All right.
Yeah, it's still there. It might be that processor noise you're talking about. I think it'll be fine, though. I just figured we'd give it a shot to see if it was Skype or not. We can fix that before the next show.
Don't like that.
Yeah, well, we're 15 minutes over for now anyway, so that's the way it goes.
All right.
The way TV was in the 50s. All right, so let's see. We'll give it a little quiet here, and I'll roll that beautiful bean footage.
The XJ Talk Show is for entertainment purposes only. Any advice or information provided on this show should be verified by alternative sources prior to making any changes or modifications to your vehicle. We are not experts, just people that enjoy the Jeep hobby and don't mind talking endlessly about it. P.S. We love you.
We interrupt this broadcast for an XJ Talk Show News Bulletin. Pharmacists having hard time keeping in stock new suppository cure for the FIFA World Cup fever. To find out where to get yours, stay tuned till after the show.
Hey, stud. It's time for the XJ Talk Show. Now, here's my two favorite boys, Tony and Josh.
Yes, this is Tony. You know me as Motor Oil on xjtalk.com, which is a forum we're going to be telling you more about during this show. It's a Jeep forum, more importantly. And, let me just mention WranglerTalk.com. It's a Jeep Wrangler forum. That would be, we wouldn't mind a CJ or two coming on there at all. But all the Wranglers, CJ, hell, anything with the Jeep emblem and four wheels is great with me. So,
yeah, absolutely. I agree, except for maybe the new Renegade coming out.
Well, I guess we're going to have to embrace those newbies. You know how those kids are. They get on your yard, and pretty soon you start loving them, and, the other alternative is going to jail. So
I did hear a rumor about the new Cherokee, but we'll get to that later on.
Yes. So, guys, thanks for being here. We really appreciate you taking out some of your time to join us here on the XJ Talk Show. It's a podcast about Jeeps, Cherokees, Wranglers, and the often maligned 2014 Cherokee. This is my co-host, Josh.
Yeah, I was going to say not to be confused with the XJ. But yeah, I'm Josh, otherwise known as NW99XJ or Northwest 99XJ. You can find me over at xjtalk.com. Just about any given day of the week.
And that's because you have a 1999 Jeep Cherokee.
I sure do.
One of the few, one of the proud, one of the brave.
And one of the best, in my opinion.
Well, of course. Hey, this is the XJ Talk Show, a podcast about Jeep Cherokees, off-roading, the tech that you need to get you there and back. We're here to promote the web's most premier website for all that is Jeep Cherokee, xjtalk.com, the friendliest and most helpful site on the web. xjtalk.com encourages and answers all the questions and concerns that the first-time Jeep XJ owners typically have without any flaming or criticism, all while giving you the best, most in-depth articles and write-ups for the repairs and modifications that take your average XJ to the next level. Now get ready. It's the XJ Talk Show, and it starts right now.
First Week in Jeep.
Well, Chrysler is on the NHTSA's radar for yet another recall. As another hearing began Wednesday into the General Motors ignition switch recall, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration announced it has shoved 2 probes deep into the Chrysler Fiat Motors engineering program to examine similar possible ignition switch defects in about 1.25 million vehicles from the Chrysler Group of Fiat Chrysler automobiles. The GM switch recalls now total about 8 million vehicles, including another recall just announced this week of an additional 3.16 million cars. The switches can be bumped inadvertently or jarred by a rough road out of the run position, shutting off the engine and disabling power steering and brake assist, and usually the airbags too. You know, like that one time when you tried to wheel the wife's minivan. No deaths, 1 injury, and a couple hurt feelings are linked to the Chrysler switch issue, which involves 5 models. The NHTSA also says it knows of no crashes where the airbag should have but did not deploy. The initial GM recalls of small cars in February and March are linked to 13 deaths and 54 crashes. Take that, Chrysler. GM scored higher. Wait. Oh, no, that's a bad thing, huh? Well, anyways, moving on. The latest GM recalls this week are linked to with 8 more crashes, 6 injuries, and a couple bruised egos. One of the new NHTSA investigations cover about 700,000 2008 and 2010 Dodge Journey SUVs, Dodge Grand Caravan, and Chrysler Town & Country minivans. Well, thankfully, most of us don't have anything to worry about. The NHTSA said the spring inside the ignition switch is weaker than your sister's Chihuahua's bladder over your freshly installed white carpet. It can pop the switch back to the position beyond run and accessory that we all now know is called death. After the vehicle is started and in that position, it is vulnerable to turning the engine off if bumped or jarred, in the rare case you find yourself driving over a pebble in the road. The 2010 models of these vehicles were already recalled in 2011 for ignition switch, but NHTSA says it has further complaints about the vehicles that got the recall fix. The second NHTSA ignition investigation covers about 525,000 2006 to 2007 Jeep Commanders and 2005 to 2006 Jeep Grand Cherokees, about which the NHTSA has complaints that the driver's knee can bump the ignition and move it out of run. I say the fix is easy. The system dealerships should be installing is called the Hey, Quit Smothering the Steering Wheel and Move Your Seat Back, Stupid ignition position retaining system. In other news, does the Wrangler and Cherokee actually have off-road competition? Well, not that the bar is set too terribly high with the 2014 Cherokee, but with the legendary off-road prowess set by generations of the Wrangler, you'd think that a manufacturer might have come up with something that would give it a run for its money. Toyota tried to do it with the rebirth of the FJ Cruiser. Chevy hasn't had a good off-road offering in I don't know how long, and the rest aren't even in the same ballpark. Well, that is until now. Ford has begun stepping up to play in the off-road game in recent years by first offering the Raptor, a rugged desert race-inspired version of the F-150. And there's been rumors lately about the return of the Bronco, a very timely news release on the anniversary of the infamous slow-speed chase on the LA freeways with O.J. Simpson and that iconic white Ford Bronco. Now, Brazil has a new Ford off-road SUV called the Troller T4, which looks very closely resembling a mixture of a Wrangler, a Suzuki Samurai, and a Land Rover Defender. It comes stock with heavy-duty Dana axles, a sway bar disconnect feature, and 17-inch wheels, not to mention off-road tires. The air intake system is also prepped for a snorkel. Right now, there is no confirmation as to whether or not the Troller is going to be renamed to the Bronco and offered here in the United States. For now, though, we'll just say Ford looks like they got it right, and maybe Jeep should have been paying attention when designing the new Cherokee or the soon-to-be-released Renegade. Hey guys, if you would like to submit a story to be aired on This Week in Jeep, just like friend of the show and radio Comtech producer John Prerunner 1982 did with our last story, or you have a response to any one of the stories here on This Week in Jeep, or you have a show and shine off-road show or other Jeep-related event you'd like to promote, please send an email to newstips@xjtalkshow.com.
You know, Josh, I was thinking the internet was everywhere. So it kind of surprises me that anybody would call a vehicle the Troller.
Yeah, I know, right?
On trolling now. Trolling is fun. I'll have to admit, you know, for a smartass like me, trolling's a lot of fun. But
Can be.
Yeah, not exactly what I would what I would call a great vehicle name, but maybe it means something else down there.
Very well could be. After all, this is available only in Brazil at this point, and no confirmation yet as to whether or not it will be or ever will be released here in the United States. But if it was to be released here in the U.S., this definitely looks like a new generation Bronco. You guys got to go check it out. Just do a Google search real quick for Ford, Troller T4, and you guys can see what this thing looks like.
Well, the Broncos were always nice vehicles. Of course, I'm referring to the full size, not so much the small ones.
Mm-hmm.
xjtalk.com is where you go when you're not off-road. And now you can go to xjtalk.com when you're off-road too. Using your smartphone, install the Tappa Talk app, then search for XJ Talk. Take XJ Talk with you wherever you go. Jury duty, dinner with your spouse's parents, even, well, anywhere you need your XJ Talk fix.
xjtalk.com. It's where you go when you're not off-road.
This is Dan from the 4x4 podcast, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or your MP3 player. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial over at www.audibletrial.com/XJTalkShow.
Boy, you're just raring to go tonight, aren't you?
I am. I'm fired up and ready to go.
Hey, and now it's time for our little "Who's Been Following Us on YouTube" segment. Not the official name.
Who's been stalking us?
In a good way, but personally, I think that's only one way is a good way for stalking, right?
Yeah, that's right. We've got a great list that keeps building and building every week of our recent YouTube subscribers. And, they just keep getting added to the list faster than we can call them out. We pick 4 every week at random in no particular order. So if you guys are waiting to hear your name, now stick tight. We'll get to it eventually. First on the list tonight is Anthony Cox.
And the next one is Def Trip.
And we got what could be a celebrity here on our list. Drew Carey is following us, is subscribed to our YouTube channel.
Love your show, Drew. And Brandon D. Guitar TV.
Check him out. Maybe he's got a whole station involved there. Anyways, guys, thanks for the subscriptions. Make sure you're telling a friend about the show. And, if you haven't subscribed already, now would be a good time to do it.
539 subscribers. Yeehaw. So, again, the favorite for Josh and I, Chit Chat.
Well, Tony, my Jeep is ready for some trail use. Yeah, more or less, anyways. I finally got my track bar re-welded back up onto the plate.
How do you like it?
It drives like it should again.
But how does it look? I'm sure you got under there and checked it. No matter how good the guy was, you had to have been under there with a ball peen hammer and a pry bar and a stethoscope, hitting the metal and checking it, making sure none of that Titanic metal was used.
Yeah, no, there's nothing like that going on. No, it actually looks pretty good. I haven't had haven't had a shakedown run yet, but it looks like it's going to be doing just fine. Let's see, I actually got a picture of it here. I'm going to try and share it with you guys. Now, see, this is the benefits of joining in on the live show. Now, I'm just going to be holding up my cell phone here to the screen here and wait for it, or to the camera and wait for it to adjust, which it may or may not do properly. But anyways, it's all welded and primered back up. It's plated in the whole area, got several gusset rosette welds through there. It is by far much more stronger than it was before.
Excellent.
And now there's one caveat to that, though. Now, I told you guys in the last couple episodes that the importance of making sure that your drag link and your track bar are the same length when designing an over-the-knuckle system or redesigning your steering system altogether for whatever you may be doing. Now, when I did mine, I was a little hasty. I didn't do my measurements properly, and I ended up with a track bar that's a little bit shorter than it should be. And I tried to combat that a little bit with the rewelding of the bracket and moving it outboard just slightly. Now, I couldn't go as far as I wanted to. That would have involved a lot more work, which I kind of outlined in the last couple of episodes. But it's good enough for now. But it left me with a small issue. and that is this is the Rough Stuff Pan Hard bar kit. Pan Hard and Track Bar, basically the same thing. Just, two different ways of calling a skin cat the skin cat. Anyways, this system uses Heim joints on both ends. And the Heims didn't come with a whole lot of thread length on them. And this is the thread that actually, screws into the bar itself. It's only probably about 1.5 inches long. Now, I'm going to try and track down some other ones that I'm going to use, because the ones that are in there right now, after the bracket was moved outboard just slightly, left me with only about 3/4 of an inch of thread engagement on each Heim joint. And to me, that's not a whole lot. That's basically about the depth of the weld-in bung on the end of the 1/4-inch DOM tubing that comprises of the actual bar itself. Now, what that means is that there's not as much thread into the bar as I would like. To me, I don't think it's going to be strong enough. Is there enough thread to hold it in place? Yeah, absolutely. Can I still wheel it and drive it? Yeah, most likely. Can it handle abuse? It's a good question, and I don't know if I really want to test that theory out. Now, if I snap a Heim joint on the trail, right at where the threads are, chances are I might be able to extract whatever is snapped off if it didn't break too far deep into the actual bar itself. Otherwise, what I want to do is do some research, track down some Heims that have a much longer thread end on them, and that's the part that actually screws into the bar. And that way I can really get, much more of that Heim into the bar itself, giving me that much more strength, and potentially even being able to push that bar out a little bit longer, make up some of that difference that I have in the bar length between the track bar and the drag length.
Man, that's kind of scary.
Well, like I said, it drives fine. It's not in any risk at all of popping out. It's not like it's only hanging on by a couple of threads. Now, these are fine threads, and it's, we're talking 1.25 inches in diameter or something like that. I mean, it's substantial thread. It's fine thread too. So there's probably, in that 3/4 of an inch, 30 or 40 threads maybe.
Right.
There's a lot of thread engagement there. It's just not what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, is it plenty strong? Most likely. Is it strong enough for my likes? I can always do better, and I'm going to plan on it. So what I'll end up doing is getting some other Heims to put in there and saving these ones for a trail fix if something else were to happen to my rig or somebody else's. I've got a Heim joint that will work on another tie rod end, or somebody else's drag link or something, or a tie rod or track bar or something like that. The spares are always good to have no matter what.
How much are those things?
I haven't found out yet. I'm still looking for ones that have longer thread. Now, so far, I've found direct replacements through Rough Stuff, and that's easy. But I'm going to be looking at, companies like MSC, Fastenal, McMaster-Carr. These are hardware supply companies that, Granger, places like that. These are places that, they just have massive warehouses of just endless amounts of, builder parts and various other things. And I should be able to find one that's got the specs that I need. It may be a metric version, or the eyelet might be a little bit small and I have to ream it out or something like that. I honestly don't know. I'm expecting all kinds of issues with this. But I know there's got to be something out there. I've seen Heims with big, long, threaded necks on them. And so I know they make them out there. I just got to find them, track them down, figure out how much they cost and how long it's going to take me to get them.
Gotcha. Hey, with your permission, we'll grab the person that's been holding patiently on the call-in line.
By all means.
Hey, thanks for calling in to the XJ Talk Show. Who we got and where are you located?
This is Katie May. I'm out of Tennessee.
Oh, it's Katie May.
How you fellas doing tonight?
So I read on Facebook today you were out trying to get a sunburn.
Actually, I did very well at getting it.
She did not say she was trying to get a sunburn.
Y'all were talking about the Broncos and coming out in 2016.
Yep.
Have y'all seen the pictures of them? Oh, my God, they are so sexy. I have set up a savings account in my bank where I've been started saving for mine. I will be one of the first ones to have the new toy. I am so stoked about them. They are slick. They're chrome. They've got them in the, what is that, the black, the dull black color.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called either.
Oh my God, they're super sleek, sexy.
Is it? It's not
I can't wait.
It's not a shiny black. It's not an off black. What's it called, Josh?
The matte black or a flat
matte.
black?
Yeah, like a flat black or
That's
something.
it. Oh my God, flat black. Oh my God, I want one in black on black on black.
Well, no,
Oh my God, it's going to be so awesome.
I'm gonna have to look at this thing now, Josh. I mean, we got a fan that's not even in this country.
Yeah, I'm popping up our friend Google here really quick and just going to type in very quickly 2016 Ford Bronco and see if it matches the picture of the troller that I saw earlier.
Awesome.
And nope, it looks nothing like the troller, oddly enough.
Okay.
And you're right, Katie Mae. That is actually a pretty damn sexy looking rig, I got to say. I haven't seen one in flat black yet right now. The images that are popping up are silver. And it has a grill very similar to what you see on the F-350s.
Mm-hmm. So you take that one to the mall, I'm guessing.
Gotta let sexy be sexy.
So you would take that one to the mall, I'm guessing.
Oh, in a heartbeat. I would date the ugliest guy in America if he had that truck.
Wow, you heard it first here, guys. It's not true.
If you want to get the chicks, it sounds like you're going to have to pick up a new Bronco.
So,
the new Broncos are just. Like I said, I've went to the bank and got a savings account started, just so when they finally get here, I can walk in, lay my money down, and say, "What do I have to pick from?"
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So you mentioned black. Is that the only color you're interested in?
No, they've got. I've seen a silver one.
Silver.
That was really. It's more as a sleeker, sexier look that I really got into. Now I can imagine it with maybe some flat back, like a fade out to the bottom black. Maybe got 2 tones, had it bright silver top and with a little pearl in the middle, and it faded black. I've got my color scheme done picked out.
Oh, you've already got it picked out. I'm sure you got the trim and everything all set and ready to go. And you're probably just going to be waiting in line at the dealership for one of those to arrive.
Well, Katie Mae, we really appreciate you calling in. Thanks a lot, and great to hear about that. I didn't realize that wasn't up on the Ford Bronco news. I didn't realize that they were actually coming out with one.
Well, there's been rumors for a while, and it's been really hitting the news full stride lately, especially with this anniversary of the O.J. Simpson whole debacle. And it was this week, in fact. I think it was yesterday or the day before was the year-to-date anniversary of that slow-speed chase that got millions and millions and millions of views on TV, and of course is living in infamy with that white Bronco. And Ford is really riding the coattails of that with this news release, and with this vehicle popping up in Brazil, which very closely looks like it could be a newer version of the Bronco too, but does not look anything like the pictures I just saw of what the 2016 U.S. Bronco is going to be looking like.
It's just amazing. I wouldn't think that any company would want to associate themselves with somebody that, even though proven innocent, and I am not one of those white people that are upset about that. I think it's great because a man that wasn't white used his power, influence, and money to get out of the charges that were against him, and it's been done so many times in the past by white powerful people. It just goes to show you that things are a little more equal now than what they were in the past. And I mean, I don't want to make any enemies. I don't like seeing anybody be killed or miscarriage of justice, but it's been going the other way for a long time. So.
Well, speaking about going places, Tony, I just want to very quickly tell people about an off-road show that's happening this coming weekend, June 22nd in Woodland, Washington. It's kind of going along the same time as the Founders Fair and other events going on in Woodland, Washington. They pretty much shut the entire town down and have a big, huge party, all-day event type of thing. And it's a lot of fun. I was there involved with this. It's put on by the Our Gang Off-Road Club, and they put on a heck of a show. And they brought me in last year to DJ and MC the event, a huge raffle, lots of good music, and a ton of off-road vehicles. RTI ramp, teeter-totter for the Jeeps to play on, in fact. And they said they're just going to keep growing this thing bigger and bigger every year. They've agreed to bring me on another year, and I couldn't be more proud to be a part of it. June 22nd, Woodland, Washington. If you're anywhere between Seattle and, well, the California border, you guys got to make the drive. It's a lot of fun. It'll be worth it. Trust me. Come up to Woodland, Washington, June 22nd. See me for the Our Gang Off-Road Show.
Hey, don't forget your business cards.
That's right.
Those only say xjtalk.com, right? It doesn't have the it doesn't have XJ Talk Show, does it?
It does. Down at the bottom, it says XJ Talk Show.
Get one of those, guys. Go out there and shake Josh's hands or whatever he wants shooken, right. And get one of those.
There's only so much room underneath the DJ booth.
Wow. This exactly how much room is there, Josh?
That's a trade secret. I can't share that.
Yeah, I figured you were going to be stuttering on that one. Trade secrets. So I don't really have anything to report on my Cherokee. I think one of the things you had asked about a while back was, did I notice any difference with the new ball joints? And I guess I slowly have. There is a lot less popping noises, a lot less noises that I would associate with something in the front, and it's more of the leaf springs that are in the back. And I also noticed that there's less wandering around on the road whenever I hit uneven surfaces, or I guess it would be uneven surfaces, or there's a little piece of wood gap to allow for expansion in the two pieces of road. It pulls a little bit, but not nearly like it used to. I feel a lot less like I'm wandering on the road, like you might if you had some loose front end parts.
Right.
So overall, it feels a lot more solid, and I'm very happy about that. Still got very that. Good. I was going to ask Matt about this. I'll just throw this out to the audience and see what they think. As I've mentioned before, I have an issue between 40. What is it? I can't remember now. 4,000 and 4,250 RPM. It loses power only for that very small range, and it is exactly between those two RPMs. It loses power, and as soon as it gets out of that power range, it from about, I guess it's 4,200 to 4,500. But once it gets past that little bit of a weirdness, boy, it just comes on strong all the way to 5,000 whenever it shifts gears. And it does it in first and second gear. I have not tried it in third. that would be cruising pretty far.
All right,
but
let me ask you a very quick question. Does it? Can you duplicate the problem with the vehicle in park and revving the engine up to that RPM range? Do you hear any hesitation or stutter or anything like that? If you try that, or have you tried that?
Well, I've been told that you never want to rev an engine above about 2,500 RPMs, at least not the 4.0, because without load, you can really damage the engine. So I certainly wouldn't want to take it to 4,500 RPMs.
Yeah, I don't remember really well. A couple of times up on some slick rock that I've seen the revs get up there, but yeah, I mean, typically
there's still a load.
That's still a pretty high RPM range for the 4-liter.
So anyway, I was thinking the other day, since a lot of the vacuum hoses that I have in there are the original ones, I wonder if I could have this situation if I had a vacuum hose somewhere in the chain. I really haven't thought about it long enough to figure out which one it might be. But I wonder if I might have a vacuum hose collapsing.
Could be, or maybe a slight pinhole leak, or a little bit of a chafing or a chapping or something like that going on one, and you don't have the pressure that you used to. But anything's possible when it comes to vacuum. That's a fickle problem that's very hard to troubleshoot and identify.
Hard to race those Hondas whenever you start losing horsepower between the your peak power. Keep in mind, guys, I've got a what do the kids used to call it? 3/4 race cam. I do have a crane cam in that engine, so I'm sure it's a combination. For the longest time, I thought maybe it was the springs, because I know there is a problem a potential problem with the valve springs and the higher lift cams. Those springs just aren't as strong as what they really need to be. And before I go back in there replacing the spring, the valve coils, I would much rather find something that's easier to fix. I would hate to go through all that process and then get out there and 4200 to 45 does the exact same thing. It's hard to see those vacuum hoses collapse whenever you're traveling down the road at 70 miles an hour.
Yep. You're going to have to take the hood off and have somebody hold on to the windshield wipers while you're driving down the freeway.
Well, there's a nice big bumper on the front. They could stand and look.
Yeah, maybe
a little headlight on their head.
You'll be fine.
Well, anyway, I thought I'd throw that out there, and some of you Jeep 4.0 know-it-alls will maybe you can help me out there and let me know what you think it might be. Hey, we got a couple of voicemails, Josh. Let's get to those now.
Very good.
Hey, this is Tony.
And this is Josh from the XJ Talk Show. We want to thank you for calling our 24/7 voice line.
Yes, we do. Just leave your first name and your question or comment.
There's no guarantee, but we may play your message on the podcast.
Oh, and don't worry about keeping it clean. We'll take care of that.
Now it's your turn to speak at the beep.
Hey, this is Nikki G, and I'm down here at the Walmart, and I just ran into a new Cherokee owner, and let me put him on the phone and let's hear what he has to say.
Oh, no.
I drive the Jeep. I drive that Jeep real good, boss. I'm just kidding. He's actually a Miata owner. All right, guys. I'll chat you later. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, he's going to burn in hell for that one.
I was going to say, man, there may have been somebody very confused with that man coming up with it wearing a tinfoil hat. Here, talk into this device, please.
Hey, Tony, Josh, it's Stephanie from New York. I am having some issues with my Cherokee. While I'm driving, it'll shut down. The lights, radio, everything stay on, just the motor shuts down. And then once that happens, she don't want to start up. She's turning over. She just won't start up. If you guys could try and get back to me and help me figure out what this issue could be, all right? 845. Thanks, guys.
So this call came in on Father's Day, and I was in the middle of about 2 or 3 things when it did, and I didn't even have time to listen to the voicemail. I did read it on Google Voice. It actually does a little text or voice-to-text translation, and I gave her some advice that was wrong because the voice-to-text translation isn't always that good. So I thought it might have been a bad alternator based on what I was reading, and I told her that, and frankly, I thought she was sitting at home and was trying to work on this thing, getting it ready for the next day to go to work. So I didn't want to leave her hanging, so I asked Josh if he might have an opportunity to get with her on Skype or something, and I shot him the number that she left, and he was able to get a hold of her. And Josh, I'll let you take it over from there.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I, was worried about, how am I going to get a hold of her? I didn't have any numbers. Tony and I were kind of texting back and forth, and I too, I was just assuming, okay, she's at home, got the Jeep in the driveway, and it won't start or whatever. So I did finally, called, and I think that, I had to leave a voicemail, and anyway, she ended up calling me right back within a few minutes, and anyways, find out that she's stuck on the side of the road. I mean, just full on, literally stranded on the side of the road. Luckily, it wasn't in traffic. They were able to manage, her and her boyfriend were able to manage to pull the Jeep off into a safer range. But so we went through some troubleshooting and ended up, getting a couple things, find out some knowledge. Okay, it's this year, this motor. Okay, what kind of accessories, yada, yada, and kind of got a brief little history lesson as to what the Jeep had been doing. And like you heard in the voicemail, it would basically just, the engine would die. And, all the electronics would still be working. So, in my mind, it wasn't an ignition issue. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, there's 2 things that kind of cause similar issues. And especially, I was getting reports that it would happen more frequent when it was hot. It was happening more frequently now that the weather was getting hotter. So I'm thinking, okay, well, there's various sensors and everything else. And okay, maybe it's a throttle position sensor. I didn't have the testing procedures, and I don't think she had a multimeter with her anyways that, we could have done that. So it was some very rudimentary troubleshooting that we're going through over the phone from, 6,000 miles away, trying to figure out what was going on with her Jeep. So we ended up, getting over to the power distribution center And I'm having them look for fuses and stuff like that. I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a fuse in one of the circuits where it's broken and it's just kind of sitting there, kind of like a light bulb filament or something like that, touching itself every now and again. It would work, and you hit a bump or it gets too warm and it kind of falls apart. And now you got a dead engine. Well, it wasn't any blown fuses or anything like that. What kept popping in the back of my head was the automatic shutdown relay. And for those of you who have issues with the Jeep, earlier model Jeeps, and hers was a 92 or a 93, I think. The late models don't have the automatic shutdown relay. The older models do, and they can occasionally, as relays do, they're just an electromagnetic switch, go bad. And they will default to their normal position, which in this case is a normally open position. And that was her case. I was like, okay, what you got to do is find a relay that is similar and swap places. We're just going to do this as a test. And sure enough, did that, pulled the relay from the auxiliary fan circuit, and the Jeep fired right up. And so I was very glad that it wasn't, throttle position sensor or crank position sensor, which is the other thing that I was leaning towards, it being the crank position sensor on the driver's side of the bell housing, which is an extremely difficult sensor to get to. But it going bad will create very similar type of conditions. And so, with a little bit of troubleshooting and some help and, some back and forth and she's mechanically inclined, her boyfriend's mechanically inclined, with that, some good descriptions and, just a little bit of time, we got her back on the road and she was able to make it home.
Oh, that had to have been a great feeling, especially when you found out they were stranded on the side of the road.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was like, God, geez, I hope I can help them out. I hate to, just leave them. Well, I don't know what else to do. Good luck. That would suck.
Yeah.
But
that was a very real possibility if it was the crank position sensor or any of those sensors, really. It's very, we don't have a multitude of redundancy in the sensor department like we do relays. So if you got to have something go bad, because you can run a while without a electric fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and luckily they didn't have very far to go. I was like, just keep an eye on the temps. Just, if you see that needle creep up into the, 220, 230 range, you shut that thing off and get to the side of the road, pop the hood, let things cool down a little ways before you, proceed on further.
Yeah.
And they had a very short distance to go. So it was all safe and sound in the end. So very happy story very nice story with a happy ending.
Boy, but very few things will really ruin your day than to be stuck on the side of the road, especially whenever, now they're up in New York, so I know it's not as hot as it is down here. But nonetheless, you got places to go and people to see, and not be sitting on the side of the road with your Jeep Cherokee. We want to leave that to the 2014s. I'm looking forward to some of those pictures. It'll be a transmission issue,
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey guys, this part of the XJ Talk Show is brought to you by Audible.com. If you like podcasts, there's a good chance you're going to like audiobooks too, especially if you're busy like Tony and I, and you don't have time to read all those books. Besides, reading a book in traffic is, bad for your health. Audible.com has over 150,000 different book titles to choose from any imaginable topic. I'm sure there's something out there that you guys can get yourselves interested in. To get you started, the XJ Talk Show has your hookup. You just got to go to audibletrial.com/xjtalkshow. And, it'll get you hooked up. One free title of any book that they've got, no matter how short, how long, what kind of topic, one free title right off the bat. Here you go. Gratis. Completely free. All you got to do is sign up. That's www.audibletrial.com/xjtalkshow.
Josh, you mispronounced gracias. No, I didn't.
No, I meant what I knew.
Anyway, we were very pleased to be able to share a couple of reviews here with you. One was a very nice, touching post on xjtalk.com.
Yeah, this is by, I'm going to screw up this name. Is it Joliet, Johnny?
Joliet, the prison, Joliet.
I hope I didn't butcher that too much. Anyways, it writes, it seems like yesterday I bought my 99 XJ. Hey, good purchase. Hoping that paying probably more than it's worth, $4,500 at 20% interest, so I could improve my credit enough to buy a house. And to think I went to look at a 94 Wrangler and was about to leave when I spotted my 99 red XJ. Now, sounds like a very similar story to you, Tony. I had my XJ for just over 30 years, had a 30-day buyback warranty when the cooling system failed, and I had to replace the water pump and radiator, but this site helped me through it. Shortly after that, we had one of the worst snowstorms I've ever seen. About 1 mile into my 15-mile drive to work, I started to wonder if it was a good idea to keep going. I did, and my 99 plowed through with bald tires and made me one of 15 out of 80-ish people who made it that day. I'd especially like to thank Tony, a.k.a. Mutteroy, because he talked me out of a dumb decision that may have made this house getting impossible. Tony, I found the site because you had the balls to pick up a mic and talk, and episode 1, about the time I bought my XJ, really made me wonder if there was a podcast for a Jeep Cherokee. I'd also like to thank all the members of the site I've interacted with. I've learned a lot from you. I have in the past mostly non-Jeep stuff. I have mostly in the past posted mostly non-Jeep stuff, but now I have a workspace, a 2.5 wide and 1.5 deep garage. He's talking about car lengths there. And it's all thanks to me splitting from my Sport Compact roots and purchasing my XJ. Even today, when we went to sign the papers, my wife assumed we would take the Lancer or my Civic, but I said we wouldn't. We wouldn't be doing this if I hadn't bought that Jeep. She deserves to take us there. My wife agreed, and I hope gained a new appreciation. And we did it. None of this would have happened without the XJ and the site, and for that, I'm grateful to all of you.
Wow, that's really super kind words. And you know, Josh, I can't remember what I talked him out of.
It might have been that 94 Wrangler. It might have been a car or something else. In any case, you talked him into a 99 Cherokee, which is some good sales work there. So
all I can say is I'm happy it turned out well.
Yes. No, as am I. That's an awesome story. And for you listeners out there who are part of the website and regular interactions with the people who are posting and have offered advice in the past and stuff like that, you guys deserve a pat on the back as well, because you deserve some of this credit as well. It's the kind of stuff that we're talking about here in the show, about no flaming, no criticism, nothing like that. It's the kind of helpful tech that, even the XJ Talk Show roadside assistance program that I just told you guys about, helping out fellow Jeepers. And that's really what it's all about. And that's what our site's all about. And obviously, it's stories like this that keep bringing people in, and that's really, building the reputation of the xjtalk.com website.
Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful to be surrounded by so many people online that are so willing to pitch in and help. Just like we always talk about the third seat here for people jumping in and helping us out with the program. We love having the involvement of everybody. We're Josh and I are the main characters, and sometimes we are characters, but we love having help, and we're more than happy to give you your time or more time in front of the mic or in front of the camera. So thanks very much to Johnny Joliet. I'm hoping you enjoy that house. And I don't think I posted up. I would really like to see some pictures of the house if you don't mind sharing them. I think everybody would. So if you're curious about this post, just jump over to xjtalk.com and look for Johnny. Or I'm sorry, I want to say Johnny Joliet. It's Joliet Johnny, and look for one of his posts. And this look for what Josh just read. So, hey Josh, we have an iTunes review. Can you believe it?
That's fantastic. We've been asking you guys to make sure you leave those reviews. And if you know somebody who enjoys podcasts or uses iTunes on a regular basis, of course you can find us over on iTunes. Almost the entire show archive is over there. Absolutely 100% free. All you got to do is download it. But we ask that you guys leave us a review. 5 stars would be nice. We've had 4-star reviews, and obviously we've had some constructive criticism in the past as well. We can take it all. And in fact, we'll get it on the show. We will broadcast it on the air if you leave a review. So pop in those 5 stars, leave us a comment like this next person did.
Yeah, this is from Chris Reck. And man, one letter, it would have been from Chris Rock. But we love having it from Chris Reck too. This is a 5-star review, and he simply puts it as awesome podcast for any Jeep owner. That means the 2014 Cherokee, Josh.
I guess they would be Jeep owners too.
Hey, we now have a forum. A little section for the 2014 Cherokee there on xjtalk.com. We will bash the 2014 Cherokee because that is our right. We don't like it, but you're more than welcome to come over there and post and show us your off-road pics, or you're going to the mall. I mean, Katie May, she is not an off-road person, at least not in her Jeep. She'll take forward the 4x4s off and get dirty head to toe. So I've been told. But her Cherokee is for looking good and driving places and being seen in. So absolutely nothing wrong with posting pretty pictures too.
No, absolutely. And in fact, there's a whole street Jeep section over there at xjtalk.com for those who want to throw some 20s on your Jeep or fill the back end with 15-inch subwoofers and lots of electronics. Guys, there's all sorts of stuff for any facet of Jeep ownership. You can find it over at xjtalk.com.
Oh, and the same rules apply. You come over there with a 2014 Cherokee, we are not going to flame you about your questions.
Nope.
I'm not going to have a lot of information, frankly, about the 2014 Cherokee because I don't know. But if it's some of the typical things, where to put the gas in, how to shift the 9 gears manually, I probably will be able to help you with that.
Or you'd like to leave your own review about the 2014
Yes.
Cherokee, post some pictures of your Trailhawk that you just bought, or you'd like to show off those new floor mats that you just got. Hey, any of those are acceptable. We love pictures over there. And of course, if you'd like to leave a review, by all means do that. And if you'd like to leave one on our voicemail line, we'd love to hear from you. We heard one recently from a friend of the show, Zach. He actually went to a dealership, popped himself into a 2014 Cherokee, and had a little bit of fun with one of the salesmen there. But you guys can leave a voicemail just like that over at our 24/7 voicemail line at 530-675-4102.
I heard from Zach shortly thereafter. He said he felt dirty and he had to take really hot showers and use that lava soap to
rocking back and forth, scrubbing himself.
He was rocking in the fetal position right there next to the drain for a good 15 minutes.
Oh boy, no, it's lots of good fun, guys. But yeah, no, we encourage you guys to have some fun like that, and it's all about having fun. Gee, Tony and I are just doing this because we enjoy it. We're having fun as well. We're just a couple of guys with some microphones and stuff, and we have some fun with it. Obviously, with some friendly bashing of another Jeep. It's all just fun and games.
And now for our Walking Dead segment. I saw Denver D1 in chat today, so it made me think of that.
Yeah, I can't not think of that anytime I see him pop up. And yeah, no, good times.
We need to do something to encourage him to call back in. He's hilarious on those voicemails.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, let's get to our G-Tip segment. We have another segment from Steve, 4.3 LXJ. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I had to do a lot of audio processing for this audio, so bear with us. It is good information. Tonight's information is about switches. You got to have switches. We start adding lights and things and ejection seats, and you have to have some way to toggle those things. And Steve's going to give us an idea of what kind of choices there are available for us right now. And now for a disclaimer. Jeep Tips is for entertainment purposes only. If you choose to follow these tips, man up and take the responsibility for your own actions. If you cannot, or you feel that working on your Jeep is beyond your abilities, seek the help or advice of a trained certified mechanic.
Got a tip? We do. It's time for Jeep Tips.
Thanks, Tony. It's good to be back again tonight. I'd like to talk about switches, I think. We all like to add stuff to our Jeeps, and of course most of it's electrical when we are talking about things like lights and so forth. So we need switches in order to control all that stuff. And so if we're going to do that, what kind of switch should we use? Well, there's all kinds of switches. There's push button. There's push button on, push button momentaries. There's toggle switches. There's rotary switches. And then there's rocker switches. And if you have a YJ or an 84 to 95 XJ Cherokee, the toggle or the rocker switches are probably the way to go because they have usually an extra slot where you can stick another one in, and they also have those types of switches that are already in them. And of course, after 20 or 30 years of operation, some of those switches start to wear out. So if you start looking at rocker switches, the Carling rocker switches from carlingtechnologies.com are kind of a nice replacement and also a nice add-on. Their contour rocker switches come in 3 series, 1, 3, and 5, and they use Roman numerals for that. So the 1 and 3 series are more of the classic type of rocker switch that we're looking at usually, and they match the existing switches fairly closely. The Contour 5 have a more rounded cover on them. It's the same switch with a different cover, and they have some advantages that we'll talk about here in a little bit. So if you're going to, say, replace one of your switches, you can go down to the wrecking yard and probably get another switch that's pretty well wore out. Or you can go to Carling Technologies and you can download their switch catalog. It's easy to do. And there's some really cool things that are available there. And I've got mine up here on my computer screen, and I'm looking, for instance, you get into the L series switches, which fit these same slots. They have electronic dimmer controls. So let's say you're putting in custom lights in the interior, or your dimmer switch went out on your light switch and you don't want to replace that. You can use one of these dimmer switches, and you can just push for bright and push for dim, and it'll slowly brighten or dim your lights. You can also go to the LMR switches. That means mirror rotation in the L series. And you can, for instance, if you add a set of electric mirrors to your XJ, I have, because I don't like to have to reach all the way over to the passenger side to adjust my mirror. You can put in one of these switches and you can rotate your mirrors back and forth, and you can have a left hand switch and a right hand switch, and you can put them right there in your panels if you want. They also have an LW series, and this is, the W stands for wiper and washer. These are kind of a cool switch, because if you have an XJ like mine, that switch went south a long time ago that operates the rear window wiper and washer. You can put one of these switches in and get that functionality back, as long as the wiring's intact, and you can just fit it right in there where the old switch was. There are some others that are really cool also that you can look at there. Now, one of the things that we do when we add these switches, we like to label them. And the rocker switches have some advantages. If you use the Contour 1 or 3 series, they do have some labels on there that are mostly marine, but they do have some crossovers to our applications. One would be, for instance, windshield wiper. There's a battery switch. There's high beams, low beams, side marker lights, interior lights, work lights, which could be a backup light if you want, and a couple of others that you might think about. There's also, I've noticed online, you can get little decals to go on these things, but those things kind of fall off after a while. So the selection here is a little bit limited, you know, if you're wanting labeled switches. So what do you do about that? Well, there's one thing that you can do that's really cool, and if you go to my thread on xjtalk.com called Really Cool Switches, there's a picture of some of the switches that I put in some of my panels, and they are nice because I give you a link there to a guy that's in California who is a disabled power company worker. I don't know how he got disabled, but he decided he needed something to do with himself, so he's got a switch business. And what you can do is you can call him up and tell him what kind of switch you want and what you want it to do. And if you ask for a Contour 5 switch, he has a laser etching service and has all kinds of really cool symbols and so forth. And if you look at my thread on there, you'll notice that I have 3 switches side by side that operate my air compressor system for my onboard air. I've got a compressor switch, I've got a high rev switch, and I've also got a purge switch, and they all have different symbols on them. You can get those switches from him in a low or high output LED, single or double, momentary on, off, single pole and double pole switches, and so forth and so on. And the list is really endless when you start going to these contour switches. There's about 30 or 40 different configurations you can get, and if you look through that catalog that I mentioned from carlingtechnologies.com, you'll find that it's sensory overload, and you really got to know what you want in order to get some of these specialty switches. Now, there's some things you can do. For instance, I have a switch that kills my electric fans, my cooling fans on my radiator for when I get into deep water, because you don't want to run your cooling fans in deep water. It'll just take them right out, and you won't have any more cooling fans. So what you can do is you can put a switch up that interrupts the power to them. So on my switch, it is unlighted when it's when the fans are in operation, and when I flip that switch and it turns the fans off, the switch lights up to remind me. And I put a nice bright red LED there to do that. And one of the really neat things is that when you get a switch from this guy, he also includes a piece of paper for you that tells you exactly how to wire it up. And if you're getting a Carling switch that has 6 terminals on it, that's really kind of handy. Now, let's say you've got an XJ that's 96 to 01, or you've got a YJ, or a TJ, and they really don't have a good spot for these rocker switches. Well, not to worry, because Carling also has available, if you order them, little switch panels that you can insert into anything, and they come with 1 to 6 slots in them. And so you can just sort of make a rectangular hole, whatever size you want, and you can put up to 6 switches side by side. And you can group them any way you like. Or you can go to the small round rocker switches or toggle switches and put them anywhere you can fit them. A lot of people like to put those to the right of the instrument bezel, or down on the console. You can put these little rocker switches. They're about as big as your thumbnail, and you can put them anywhere. And they go up to about 15 amps. The rocker switches go up to about 20 amps of operation. Now, when you install these switches and you're going to put all of this cool stuff on them, you can't just say, okay, I've got a 20 amp switch, and so I'm going to run 20 or 21 amps on it and call it good. Just because it says 20 amps doesn't mean you run 20 amps on it. You should always apply the 75% rule in wiring, and that is you should only run continuously 75% of the load rating of the weakest part of your system. So if you have a switch then that's rated for 20 amps, you don't want to run more than 15 amps on it. Now, there's a lot of LED lights you can get nowadays that don't pull a lot of amperage and so forth, but it is possible to put enough LEDs on there, even though they're LEDs, and exceed that 15 amp rating, in which case you'd want to run a relay. And Josh and I did a little electrical and audio tips a while back. Maybe Tony can post that again. Or you can go to the electrical and audio tips on xjtalk.com, and we discuss relays and how to wire them up. So when you're done, if you've done your homework and you've planned ahead, you can take these really cool switches with whatever kind of symbology you want on them, and have something that you can look at, and you don't have to memorize what each switch does. You just need to look at the little picture on the thing.
Hey, I wonder if the guy does Cleon. It'd be pretty cool to have a bunch of Cleon switches.
Oh boy, yeah, no, that would be something else. Yeah, I've got my whole shift console is just covered in switches right now. I think I got like 4 or 5 of them down there, but nonetheless, they're just a little light up rocker switch. Just has a single LED on it, and I haven't used them in a long time, so I can't remember what they all do. So it's, flick that one, flick that one. Oh, it's that set of lights. Okay, all right.
Having those little symbols makes a really big difference. Hey, I want to do a quick shout out to the folks that are in on our live show. We have a live show every Thursday, 10 p.m. Central Time. We'll be doing a live show starting Wednesday, July 2nd, also 10 p.m. Central. It's the Tony and Josh show. If you weren't able to get to see one of our first episodes, I think we got to like 27 or 28 episodes. before we took a break and focused all our creative juices on the XJ Talk Show. Sad.
Well, now I'm just oozing with juices, and we need an outlet. Those juices have got to go somewhere, and I'm running out of rags. So we're going to start up the Tony and Josh Show and bring it out of hiatus and come back better than ever before.
Absolutely. And but don't want to do a quick shout out to the folks here in the chat room. We've got Dean Murphy. He says, Dean Murray. He says, hi, hello everyone. Pics of the 2014 going to the mall. Nice one, Tony. So yeah, well, it's a cheap shot, but I'll own it. And
hey guys, join in the fun with our live shows every Thursday, 10 p.m. Central, and you guys can get in and chat with us live as we do the podcast, and say hi to some of the other xjtalk.com users and XJ Talk Show fans as well.
And Hidden Winds XJ was in there for a bit. I know he has class on Thursday night, so he may have got caught because he said he had to go. So maybe the teacher caught him watching the YouTube or listening to it.
Well, I'd like to thank Steve 4.3 LXJ for that very informative Jeep tips about switches. And like he said, guys, please head over to xjtalk.com and check out the electrical and audio tips section. And you guys can find all sorts of stuff about relays and switches and everything else. Also like to thank Rob for submitting the All Things Wrangler segment that we play every now and again. We'll have another one of those for you here coming up in the very near future, so make sure you guys tune into that as well. If you know a Wrangler owner, well, make sure you turn them on to the show. We do have some Wrangler tech that we bring out every now and again.
We'd like to mention about a potential off-road podcast. They had a pilot episode. I think it's a work in progress as far as the title goes. But they were loosely calling it the Off-Road Podcast. And if it comes on, which you can listen to the pilot episode, just go over to Gun Guy Radio and listen to that pilot episode. And if you leave any comments, make sure you mention XJ Talk shows that we sent you over there.
Absolutely. And guys, make sure that if you've got a Jeep story, you tell us about it. If you had a recent upgrade to your Jeep or an awesome wheeling trip or you know about an event going on, well, let us know. Go ahead and drop us a line on our 24/7 voicemail line at 530-675-4102. We want to hear about it. We'd like to maybe even get you on the show.
Hey, don't forget about Hidden Winds XJ. They are putting together an XJ to help get awareness for traumatic brain injury and PTSD. What's PTSD stand for, Josh?
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, I thought I had you.
Guys, they're doing some great stuff over there. Make sure you head over to their Facebook page, like them, pick up some of their stickers or their T-shirts or both even. Help them out with their cause.
Yeah, we'll be seeing
you find us on Facebook as well.
Yeah, we'll be seeing that one of their T-shirts here pretty soon. I'll have it up and show it to you on the show when it comes in. Looking forward to that. And, don't forget about Full Metal badges. The guys that had the Kickstarter project up, maybe a little too soon. They weren't able to get the funding, but they're going to be forging ahead with these nice big metal badges. You know, you see the trail-rated things that come on the Jeep Wranglers and stuff. Well, they're making something similar to that, except nice heavy metal and quite a bit bigger. So check out Full Metal badges on Facebook. And, man, have a look at those badges. They're really nice. Hey, I want to tell you, Josh is now on Facebook. Can you believe it? It's like pulling teeth. But anyway, when you're reading posts or chatting with XJ Talk on Facebook, it could be Tony or it may be the cute one, Josh.
Hey, we'll see you guys there. Have a good Jeep week.
Hey, don't forget about Amazon You Bought What returns next week. And have a great Jeep week.
We'll see you.
Well, Josh, we got pretty close to an hour on that one. I think it was like 101 last time I looked down at the timer.
Not too shabby.
Nah.
Yeah, because we started right about a quarter after, and I got 17 after right now.
You know, it's really funny because I'm watching the time and stuff, and I'm thinking, the show's going to be short. It's going to be short. We're not going to have enough info on this thing, and there's going to need to be filler. And oh my God, what am I going to do? And then it's over.
Next thing we know, it's over. Yeah.
Yeah. It's over time, I should say.
Exactly.
Well, the show does go by quite fast.
It certainly did tonight. That's for sure. Yeah, I was shocked as we were rolling into the Jeep tip segment. I looked down. I was like, oh, holy cow, we're like 45 minutes in.
Are you watching the live feed? Pull the live feed up so you can see what the chroma key is trying to do to your overhead shot.
Well, the problem is I got the light from the green screen is sort of bleeding over. It's illuminating behind me a greenish and
earthquake.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's that green light that. Yep. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it's the green in the. I'll be darned.
I was a little surprised it was doing that because I don't see any of that color there.
Because I can actually make out the xjtalk.com logo up there. Yeah. Wow. I'll be darned. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with the camera a little bit more. Yeah, and I kind of figured that the chroma key was going to mess with that a little bit.
I'm really surprised because it's very particular about the color, and whenever I set up your chroma key, I actually clicked on the background. Oh, and that's another thing. If you ever go to change that or change the lights or anything, then we're going to have to spend a couple of minutes selecting that color so we make sure we get a proper match. I mean, it's perfect right now. It's amazing how well it looks.
I think a lot of that has to do with I've got like just a little desk lamp laying on the floor.
Oh yeah.
Well, not it's sitting, but it's lighting that area up behind me, and I think it's the well lit green screen behind me with the backlight back there that really makes that pop.
Oh yeah, no, that's 100%. You have to have it well lit and not overlit, but just kind of a consistent. The more consistent the color, the better the easier it's going to be for the computer to match that and replace it.
Well, all right, so I'm working on the script for the promo for tonight.
Yep. Oh, you're not privy to the moderator area on xjtalk.com, so I thought I'd mention this to you.
Right.
I posted a thing up there about moderator interviews a while back, and Amber recently posted about what's going on with this because I just forgot about it. And the idea was to have the moderators on and doing a quick interview, and basically it'd be like get to know your moderator segment. And it kind of hit me that it might be kind of funny, and I told them in the post there in the private section, I was going to run this by you and see what you thought of it. I thought, and I think this is actually from Saturday Night Live a few years ago, where they would do this whole big production. Short, but of this big production as far as the intro, and then an outro was like the same thing, but it was something very, very short. So something along the lines of, let's see, get to know your moderator, the big booming voice, and then there would be like Amber might come on and say, "Hi, I'm Amber, and you know me as Key Girl on xjtalk.com." And then we would have like these 1 or 2 sentence things that I could mix in with after that intro. And we'd have 2 or 3 different types of intros so that it wouldn't be the same one every time. And then she might say something along the lines, why doesn't Motoroy put a KK section up on xjtalk.com? That's our moderator. Get to know your moderator segment for this week,
right there. That's all you get.
Yeah, just big booming music and announcer voice, and then they just get inserted.
pulling you off. Yeah.
They just kind of get those little snippets would just be inserted randomly, like we do the commercials, little promos that we have, and it would be something funny and short and perhaps more memorable than just having a 5-minute segment of get to know your moderator.
Well, I like that idea, especially if you can get them to
goof it up a bit.
1 or 2 sentence, really quick comment or question or something like that. That we can then promptly cut off and move to the next thing. That's a lot of fun. But you're gonna have to get them to commit to calling in and leaving a voicemail with that stuff or something.
Well, actually, what I was planning on doing was getting them on get them on Skype and then actually recording a lot of one sentences. That's what I was telling them in the post to do, was think about what you could say. Funny, if you want to attack me or Josh, that would be great. Do that too. You can say something negative. Or attacking us, and we could play that on there, and it would. I think it would be funny. Think of anything that's funny or informative, but very short, 1 or 2 sentence type thing, and then we would record several, not entries. What do you call it? Intros, recording it different ways, and then those little 1 or 2 sentences. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and then hopefully we'll get. It pretty much everybody was willing to be interviewed, so. This might actually be a little more favorable to them than having to sit there and think of something to say for 5 minutes.
Speaking of trying to figure out stuff to say.
Yeah, Katie May's card. I hope she hasn't forgotten about doing a segment for us. You'll have to listen to the YouTube video once it's released on Monday, so you can hear that background noise that kind of comes in.
I think I hear it because it's faint in my cans, and it kind of sounds like static almost.
It's breaking the gate or the limiter. No, I guess it'd be the gate.
It shouldn't be, because I've got an LED indicator that lets me know when the gate is open and when the gate's closed.
Well, I don't know what it is then. I would assume that it was, because it sounds like just like when the gate is just barely canceling out the noise, and it just kind of goes.
Yeah, no, it's. I'll show you here real quick.
Well, it goes away when I mute you.
But then when I see the LED, here, let me get my finger right there. So when I'm talking, the green light comes on, lets me know the gate is open, and as soon as I stop talking, the gate closes. And so even with the gate closed and it's still there, it lets me know it's somewhere else in the audio chain.
I don't even see it. I don't even see the noise here. It's so slight. I don't see it on the gate over here.
And I can barely hear it in my cans, but if you're saying it's loud enough to start triggering things, I mean, it sounds like it's very prevalent on the downstream side.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the reasons why I was thinking it was Skype related. Yeah, I guess it always could be.
So there's one cable here that if I touch or move around.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Is that making a huge difference?
Yes.
I mean, it's making a very slight difference here, but it's a difference nonetheless. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure something else out for my output, I think, because it's basically what I've done is I've got an XLR stereo to 1/8-inch mini tip ring sleeve, and that's what I go for my mixer into the laptop with. So I think it's post mixer, it's post gate.
I gotcha. That would make sense then.
Mm-hmm. So it might just be signal wires not playing well with each other. I I could be getting some electromagnetic interference or something like that. That's what I'm thinking it probably is, especially when I mess around with the cable, it moves things around. That magnetic field is shifting around, and that's what we're hearing. So I don't know. I haven't used that type of interconnect before, so it could be related to that. I'll move some wires around and see if I can't take care of it.
I am going to take a quick run downstairs and turn the air conditioner down a little bit. It's getting a bit warm in here, and I will be right back.
All right.
Oh yeah, Daddy had to get some pizza.
Oh. I stuffed my face with the last of the baby back ribs I made yesterday. Turned out so good.
Let's see. I was trying to grab one of my Father's Day presents, but I'm afraid I'll pull the green screen down. And I bet you this I'll have to move back too far to be able to have everybody see it. Are you still watching the feed?
No, let me bring it back up. I saw you put the placeholder thing up. So by the time I get there, it'll probably be on. There we go. All right, you just pivoted around in your chair. Oh, I'm seeing you unroll something. What did you get? A decal of some kind? Was it a poster? Oh, hey, look at that. Nice. Yeah, that's one of the that's one of the most famous one. I Want to Believe.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's the X-Files poster, the one that Mulder had in his office. Not the exact one, but like it.
That's a shot of one of the few pictures that they are having the hardest time claiming it's a hoax because they can't debunk it.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
Yeah. I mean, ordinarily with a lot of the not faux hoaxes. That's the word I was looking for. With a lot of the UFO hoax pictures out there, you can see artifacts around them. Even the best Photoshopper always leaves telltale traces behind. And photo experts are able to pick up on those and in researching and investigating these pictures. There's always at least something that pops up. And there's only been a handful of pictures in the history of ufology that I know about, all the documentaries and stuff that I've watched and heard and all that stuff, that there's only been a few of them that they haven't been able to debunk, that haven't had any of these artifacts or, oh, man. Now you're just teasing me with the pizza. That's not fair.
I was going to say, here, Josh, have a bite. Yeah. Just teeth, though. Don't put any juices on it. None of that stuff that you're full of.
Man, I haven't had pizza in a while too, so I've been actually craving pizza in a while. I might do that for lunch tomorrow.
This is spicy. This is the spicy Italian from Papa John's, and this is one of the rare times it's really spicy.
I like spicy. I always put hot sauce on my pizzas. All right, I've got our script up. I think that. That should be, I think we should be within 30 seconds on that. I kind of went a little long on a couple things, but we'll see how it ends up reading out. It's that second one that I'm worried about.
Oh, really? Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah. The second paragraph.
I was looking at my second one, which I thought was pretty short, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
I wonder if the fan has something. I'm gonna try. No, that's not it either. I know that if you've got a fan, and I've got a little oscillating fan down here on the floor next to me to kind of keep some air moving around here in my hot studio, but that a fan will sometimes, because of how it's made or whatever, feed back a little bit of noise into an audio chain. And I was thinking, well, hey, I might turn that off here and see if that changes that background noise at all, and it didn't go away. So, yeah, that's bugging me now.
Well, that's why I told you, because I didn't want you to, listen to it later and go, hey, what the hell? Why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
Wow, that's loud.
Yeah, no, I know. I can hear it. Interesting.
I'd say you're pretty close to it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's EMI. Do some cable rerouting and hopefully that takes care of it.
Well, as you know, whenever you went from the XLR to the 1/4-inch jack, or it's an 1/8 inch, you said, so you're going from balanced to unbalanced. So there's no telling what you might be getting in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Xenix 1204 mixer that I'm using now is a little limited on its outputs.
What were you using before?
Xenix 802.
Oh.
This is my old mixer.
Yeah, I had one of those. That's really limited.
Yeah. Well, the thing was that I couldn't, for the life of me, get my phone patch to work with this mixer.
Yeah.
And I would either have horrible echo on one end or the other, or you couldn't hear one end or the other. And I was either battling one and fighting the other, and getting one or not getting the other. And I several trips to Radio Shack and PCH cables, and I was like, well, geez, this is it's a futile effort at this point. So now I've had this mixer for quite a while, but oh, there we go. There's my 1204 that I've had underneath my desk for quite some time.
Oh, you should have been using that to start with.
And I figured I got to a point where I even put it up on Craigslist for sale at one point in time, just because I was like, wow, crap, I've had this thing for a year or more now, and I'm never going to use it, so I might as well sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even got I don't know where it is now, but I've got the little USB device that goes with it. It's just basically an audio in and an audio out when a USB dongle of some kind or another, but that goes with this. But I tried using that once, and it was just horrible processor noise, even in the most simplest of audio chains. And I didn't like it, so I pulled it out. I think I tried putting this mixer in without anything else. And I was getting a lot of processor noise through that USB interface, and I was like, well, screw that. It sounds horrible. I'm just going to go back down to this little 802. And oddly enough, this which a lot of people aren't a big fan of the Behringer mixers because they don't have as low of a noise floor as like the Mackeys do. But this little 802, it did pretty good. For I've been using this since day one.
Mm-hmm. No, it was fine. The only reason why I got rid of it was I needed something with inserts.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to run when I found out about the compressor limiter gate, I knew I wanted something that would cancel out all the noise in the background, and saw that I think you can use it without the inserts, but I didn't want to run it that way. I wanted to be able to do the insert and just have that channel run out to the compressor limiter gate and run back in. Nice, clean setup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like this Alesis compressor limiter gate that I have, just because of its functionality and it's very user friendly. The problem is that it doesn't have balanced inputs or outputs. It's all 1/4 inch TRS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think there might be an insert not post socket on the back. I can't remember now. It's been a while since I was on the back side of that thing. But I've just got it hooked up with 1/4 inch.
I've only got 4 XLRs for the channels 1 through 4, and the rest are 1/4 inch. And I do believe it has XLR outputs, but I use the 1/4 inch outputs.
Okay.
I got two
yes,
sets.
those are insert outputs, right? Tip ring sleeve.
No, those go on the microphone. So the 4 XLRs that are on top have the 1/4 inch inserts on the back. So there's 4 of those, one for each one of those microphones. And then for the other ones, I just use 1/4 inch. Like for the Skype stuff, I just run the USB interface into one of the channels on the second compressor limiter gate, and then I run it back into the mixer through the 1/4 inch jack on channels 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I think that's what I need to do. I need to, because I just pulled out my my mic cable that goes into the mixer, or well, it's not my mic cable. It's the one that comes from the compressor limiter gate, and it's not an insert style. It's not a TRS, but it said the input says balanced or unbalanced, so it really shouldn't matter.
Right. It's the same with mine. I've got a 1/4 inch jack and a XLR, so I could go with either one. I just went with the XLRs for the microphone. I mean, that's what was on this microphone anyway, so it's just easy to plug it straight in.
You've got the 1604,
yes.
Right?
1622.
Ah. All right, let me grab my stopwatch app here.
Okay.
And we'll try a run with this script. All right, and 3, 2, 1, go.
On this week's XJ Talk Show, we hear about the Chrysler's own issues with an ignition recall and what Ford has released in Brazil that may give the Wrangler a run for its money.
We give a shout out to some of our YouTube subscribers, hear some new voicemails, and we share a story of how XJ Talk came to the rescue of a stranded Jeep owner in New York.
Steve breaks down the wide world of switches in this week's Jeep Tips, and Josh talks about an upcoming off-road show in Woodland, Washington.
All that and a potential newcomer to the world of off-road podcasts, all on the next XJ Talk Show.
Wave.
Even with bumbles and not going that fast, 29.66. And that was without a wave.
Yeah, and I should read through this before I try reading it fresh. On this week's XJ Talk Show, we hear about Chrysler's own issues with an ignition recall and what Ford has released in Brazil that may give Wrangler a run for its money. Steve breaks down the wide world of switches in this week's this week's Jeep Tips. And Josh talks about an upcoming off-road show in Woodland, Washington. That's right, Woodland. We have a Woodlands here. It's plural.
We give a shout out to some of our YouTube subscribers. We hear some new voicemails, and we share a story of how XJ Talk came to the rescue of a stranded Jeep owner in New York. All that and a potential newcomer to the world of off-road podcasts, all on the next XJ Talk Show. I think there's too many alls. All right, let's do another timed run if you're ready.
Hang on one second.
Mm-hmm.